Thank you. Thank you all for being here. I'm so excited to see all the faces in the room. A big transition from when I took over the job after COVID. I would come in here, there'd be like 2 people. So thank you all so much. I know you all could be covering a lot of things. So excited that you all want to be here to cover Kentucky women's basketball. And you will be glad you did after you watch us practice. So before I dive into the season and the team and the vision of this program, I want to give a huge shout out to my coaching staff. I would not be able to do this job without them. Naya Butts, Amber Smith, Daniel, Denisha, we have all been in the trenches together, and man, they have a passion and fire to help make sure that this program runs in championship mode. And also welcome Coach Jen Hoover, who you all will meet soon. So she has been a great addition to our staff, has head coaching experience, knowledge, and also she brings a calmness to the staff. If you all have watched any games, myself, Coach Butts, Coach Amber, we're pretty high strung on the sidelines. So when we're at 10 or 20, I need somebody that's level 2 or 3, and that will be Coach Jen's job. But it's the people at Kentucky that make this program special. So from the coaching staff, the support staff, everybody is all in. Our job is to make sure our players has the best experience athletically and academically. If you've been following us this season, throughout the postseason, you'll see our team looks a little bit different. 10 new players, and also we're carrying a roster of 15. I won't look down the bench and see 2 or 3. We have a full roster of 15, 5 returners, Blair, Emma, Jada, Naya, and Robin. That's a core veteran group that understand the expectation and standards of this program. 4 transfers, Maddie Shear, Addie, Anaya, and Asia, who all have veteran experience. They have college experience, and also they understand what it takes to be successful at this level. And then we have 6 rookies. They do not know what is going on or what has hit them yet, but they are talented, and I love that they have no back down in them. And I know a lot of people have been asking me, you have 10 new players, a whole new team. Well, there is no gap in chemistry. And one thing we do not lack is personality. So you will find that out soon. But our foundation is the same. It's rooted in our Power 5, family, hard work, discipline, accountability, and servant leadership. Our motto this year, built different. I'll give you a preview of my shirt here. So built different. So whatever deficiencies this team has, we've been talking all summer. We have to overcome it with a built different mentality. That's a work ethic, a toughness, a willingness to do what others aren't willing to do to win, and a competitive spirit. So just to give you an example of how competitive this team is. So every day we have a built different challenge that you can win. And if you win for the week, you're out of sprints. So everybody's trying to win, right? The very first day of practice, I had 3 people almost injure themselves. So Mimi thought she was going to beat Robin in a sprint, and they stand next to each other. Well, Mimi took the lead on her. Robin cut in front of her. They trip over each other and go head first into the treadmill. So I thought I was going to lose 2 players right there. Addie, who is super competitive, she thought she was going to beat Jada Walker in a sprint. I don't know why she had that in her mind, but she stretches out, tries to jump over the line, goes head first into the wall on her first day of practice. So luckily everybody's okay, but that is the competitive spirit. Also, they get +5 points on the win challenge if they take a charge. I really want people taking charges. Well, Emma King took a charge in practice. The staff called it a block. I'm home watching film. I receive a text message about 11:15 p.m. It was Emma King. She said, "Coach, I want you to review this call again and see if we can change it." It was not a block. and I went back and watched practice, and she sent me the clip when she takes the charge. I send it back to the staff. I was like, guys, this is close. Do you think this was a charge? Staff was like, no, coach, it was a block. So Emma was like, I do not agree. So I was like, fine, we will solve it. I sent the clip to Lisa Mattingly. I was like, is this a charge or a block? Because Emma King wants her 5 points. Lisa Mattingly sends me a message back, and she said, she is right, give her her 5 points. So Emma was very excited about that. Speaking of charges, Cass, she leads the team in charges. She's going to take them. And let me tell you, she has changed the way they viewed points because the last 2 challenges she has won for taking charges in practice. So Robin comes up to me and says, I think you should give extra points for rebounding. I was like, you do. You get +3 if you win the rebounding. She goes, but the posts are taking all the rebounds. I said, well, either take a charge or get up more shots if you want to beat Cass. I don't know what to tell you. But they do have a very competitive spirit. So we worked really hard this summer just to put their backs against the wall and to see what we were working with. But off the court, we did some fun things. We went to Kings Island. The staff rode all the roller coasters besides Coach Butts. She carried the bags. But one important thing we did over the summer, and this was a proud moment as a coach, Blair Green called and said, Coach, is there anything we can do for the people in Eastern Kentucky? I want to go there and let's serve the people, especially it's really important to me as a mountain girl. So we did that. And so it was good to represent the state of Kentucky that way. That said, I look forward to this season. It's our 49th. And our goal is to compete for a championship. So excited about what the future holds for this team.
Well, we got questions.
Oh, I did forget one thing before we open up the questions. I want to say shout out to Ryan Howard. What about what she did in the WNBA? So happy and proud of her and what she's done being the WNBA Rookie of the Year. So shout out to Ryan Howard, Kentucky girl that is built different. Open it up for questions.
Coach, you were just talking about Blair a little bit from a Broadway standpoint, but how has her recovery been, and what kind of asset is she going to be to this team at full health?
So happy to have Blair Green back. She has worked extremely hard. We actually have to kick her out of the gym, and we have to remind her an off day is actually an off day. Get out of the gym. But she's worked extremely hard, and she's a great asset to us. Her ability to shoot the basketball, I called her a sniper. This is how competitive they are. I called her a sniper in practice. And another was like, how do we get that label? I was like, shoot like Blair. But her veteran experience. I mean, she brings that to us. She understands what we need and want in this program, and she makes us different on the floor.
Kyra, what are your expectations for Maddie Shear? And what did it mean to the program to get a player of her resume back in the state?
It was great to have Maddie Shear. I remember receiving that phone call. She did make us sweat it out for a lot of days, but to have her come back home, she understands what it means to put the jersey on. But Maddie brings a competitive spirit, but a high basketball IQ. And I think the people of the state know what she can do, and they look forward to seeing her. But I'm counting on Maddie to be a leader for this team.
I want to say the last year, Coach, helped you to rebuild this roster. Obviously, Ryan's success, but an SEC championship, I would think, helped on the trail a little bit.
Well, the SEC championship did help. It brought exposure to this program, but it also showed the resiliency of this team, this staff, and what we can do when we put our mind together. And we're going to go off that momentum. And I think our players are excited about what this season holds.
Coach, I know you said you've been asked this a lot this offseason, but I have to ask it again.
Okay.
With 10 new players on the roster, obviously, how have you seen that chemistry work together so far this season? And how do you sort of work on that process in these next couple of weeks to speed it up as much as you can before the game starts?
Well, it's a work in progress, and we started, like I said, this summer, laying the foundation of our defense and also, putting their backs against the wall and having to compete and adverse situations, but also competition. When you have 15 of them on the floor, they all want to play. And I've said to them the whole time, there's one basketball, there's 5 positions, there's 40 minutes. And you will earn it in practice. So everybody's trying to earn the right to play. So I think that has sparked our competitive spirit, but also it's just a process of working through. Our job and my job is to put 5 people on the floor that can help us win. But a lot of meetings, a lot of role meetings. This is what your role will be. This is what we need from you. And being very honest and transparent with them of what we need to be successful. It's a we. Sometimes you, sometimes me, always we.
Coach, Ron has had that leadership role the past few years. Who have you seen that's kind of stepped out and taken over that role to be the team leader and the one that people look to?
You know, I've appointed Blair Green, the leader of this team. She has been with us but she's the epitome of what I want every Kentucky Wildcat to be as far as her work ethic, how she approaches the game. But we also have a leadership council. Anaya has really stepped up, but Jada Walker has stepped up and has really found her voice. So we'll lead by committee.
You mentioned Blair being a leader, it probably helps that her parents are coaches, so she kind of came by it honestly, right?
Yes, Blair, I think she learned a lot last year by sitting out. It was a blessing in disguise for her. She was able to work with Coach G doing scouting reports. She talked our team through personnel, but she also was able to see the game through a different lens. So she's already tough. Now her mentality is that she just wants to win, and she has a confidence in herself right now.
Kyra, you kind of touched on the guard play a little bit. Just how is this position taking shape? Because you kind of mentioned you've had a lot of new faces.
A lot of new faces. You know, we have a gang of guards. They all bring something different, but what I like about this team, the versatility. We can play several different lineups. Jada Walker can play the point, but also Anaya, Maddie Shear. So the versatility that this team brings. But, you know, at the end of the day, we talk about the non-negotiable is playing hard. That's the price of admission. To even step on the floor. The difference would be who can produce under pressure. That's who will play.
The defensive intensity, how does it change with so many new players?
Well, you know, last year we wanted to play up tempo and press a little more. And when we did press, it brought us success. We just couldn't sustain it, didn't have enough depth. But this year we have enough depth to do so. Jada Walker was kind of our lone pickup last year. And let me tell you how excited she gets when I can call 3 other people in practice to actually do the job. But I think we'll be able to extend our defense even more and have the depth to do it for longer.
Kyra, what are your expectations for Anaya Russell, who I know was a player you recruited out of high school? And you got her the second time around.
We did get her the second time around, but you know, Anaya Russell's talented. She's gifted offensively, just trying to get her up to speed defensively, but her athleticism is nice to have on the floor. But she's a guard that can create her own shot, but she can also create for others. But competition. Anaya is someone that we recruited, but no one's just gonna be like, move over, Anaya, this is your position. They're all fighting for that guard spot.
Coach, obviously the news of Tiana Herring was pretty shocking to everybody. How's the team handling that moving forward? And I guess you have any updates on her situation?
Yeah, it was unfortunate news that we received about Tiana, but I will say she's very resilient. She has a toughness about her. Her approach going into surgery, she was like, Coach, this is what I have to do, and then I'm going to get back on the floor. But she's back with us, so glad to have her back in Lexington. And, you know, we just take it in stride. It's day by day. We have committed as a staff and a team to continue to encourage her, uplift her, and keep her engaged as she's trying to get back on the basketball floor. And as far as an update, it's day to day.
What should we expect out of a sophomore, Jada Walker?
The same that you saw as a freshman. She still has that toughness about her, the defensive intensity, the competitive spirit, but I also think, she was baptized by fire a year ago. So she learned a lot and through playing experience, and there's nothing like having experience until you have some. But I think she's playing with so much more confidence because she actually understands what's happening. A year ago, she did all of that, not really understanding our system. So imagine what she can be now that she understands.
This team probably has the most Kentucky natives in recent history. How do you think that'll help just the general energy around the program?
I know, we do have a lot of Kentucky girls, right? Which is good. We want to make sure as the flagship school that we bring in the top Kentucky kids, and having these players here, they understand what it means. They are born and raised, they have Kentucky blue blood in them. So I just think they have a different passion and understanding.
Coach, you mentioned confidence there. How do you think winning the SEC championship last year kind of raised some of those returners' confidence, and has it showed up in their play?
Absolutely. Well, we went through a lot of ups and downs last year. And for them to be able to play through it and see at the end hard work, resiliency, toughness, it can pay off. And I mean, what a magical run that we had, and it paid off by winning an SEC championship. But I think that gave them confidence that if we stick together as a team, follow the blueprint, be coachable, that we have an opportunity to do great things together.
What kind of role do you see, if any, for Cassidy this season?
Cassidy is a tough player. She takes charges. She is what I want Kentucky players to do, get on the court. She has a grittiness and a toughness, but she has a high basketball IQ. But at the end of the day, a freshman point guard, it's just tough. It is a process. And, I just challenge her, trust the process, learn from the veterans, and be prepared when your number's called.
Kyra, on the note about the SEC tournament win, the teams you had to beat to achieve that, the South Carolinas of the world, the Tennessees, what becomes the key now to closing that gap in the regular season and competing against those programs consistently during league play?
One, you have to stay healthy. Two, everybody has to buy into their roles, because everybody's going to have a different role, and we're going to need everyone. And, we talk about the 3 Ps: peers, parents, press. Nobody gets in this room besides us, and we have to lay everything else aside to make sure that it is us together and competing as one. And I think that's how we close the gap. And then just our style of play, being able to do it consistently.
I'm such a scorer, such a dependable scorer, and obviously you don't have somebody proven at this level doing that. But how different do you think you'll look offensively, and what have you seen maybe from some of your players?
I mean, Ryan Howard is tough to replace, obviously, but like all programs that have a player of her caliber, you have to learn to move on. I mean, I wish we could have her forever, but she has bigger and better things to achieve. But this year it's more about players making plays. So we did have a Ron Howard, but collectively, we're not asking Blair Green to be a Ron Howard or a Jada Walker, everybody being their best offensively. And it's our job as a staff to make sure that we're putting players in position to score. We need a big 3 to step up, and it might be the same 3 every game. It might be a different 3. I think we'll be a work in progress offensively.
Is sort of a blank slate. Is there anybody sort of stepping up or even sort of coming to the forefront there?
Well, I think Anaya Leveretta gained a lot of confidence last year as we threw her in late in the season and asked her not only to play, but to produce. So I think she's playing with a lot of confidence. Then you add Addie, who has college experience. She brings the energy that we need, to her ability to rebound the basketball and defend. And then Asia Petty, even though she's a work in progress, she is what we have been missing at Kentucky. She's a a big post that's physical and that can score down low, but she can move like a guard. So, I feel like we'll be able to score inside, but when you think about our offense, we want to play fast and up tempo.
A lot of emphasis on having 15 players and saying you're a better bench. How much was that a point of emphasis in you with you and your coaches in building this team? If you remember last season, you had 6 players.
I'm trying not to remember that we had 6. But I think in order to play the style that we want to play up tempo offensively, pressing, you have to have a bench to go to. And, obviously I hope we stay healthy all year, but being able to have options is helpful, but it also helps in practice. I thought last year we weren't as consistent as we needed to be, but we also were so down in numbers that we didn't get to practice like we needed to.
When you went and recruited players for Maddie, for example, for a second time, is it the same pitch that you've been to him the second time, or is it different? Is this the same person recruiting him, or is it different? Or what was different about this time around?
Well, I think the relationships are the same. Once you recruited them once, you have the relationship. So I think the foundation was laid. But Maddie in particular, I was like, listen, the people of the state of Kentucky want to see you at Kentucky wearing blue. I don't know what we need to do, but we are going to make it happen this time. You said no the first time, but the second time we are going to get a yes. But I think it was the relationship. At the end of the day, she came on campus. It felt like family. I told her if I had a quarter for everyone that asked me if we were going to get Maddie Shear, I would be rich. But I think she understands the responsibility, and she's excited to be back and playing in her home state.
Coach, of the 10 newcomers, is there anyone that's maybe better than you thought when you were recruiting them, watching tape or anything?
Well, they're all very talented. I think they bring different things. I could go down the list, but one that just stands out, and you all will love her, is Addie. Her competitive spirit, her ability to play with an intensity on both sides of the ball. She talks nonstop. But a funny thing about Addie, I'm telling you about her competitive spirit. Going back to the win challenge, I see her in the training table yesterday, and she said, Coach, I'm going to go back and watch practice. I think they missed my rebounds at the table. I should have won some of those. So her competitive spirit, but also she brings a leadership to us. She's not afraid to say the tough things. And I think that was one thing that we were missing in our leadership that she will bring.
Coach, with all the young players added to your roster this year, how has that affected your style of coaching that we're approaching to coach them?
Patience. You guys pray for me, but they have been a lot of fun. But it's a change from the last 2 years where we had veterans that we could get through a practice plan very fast. So for example, when you have 6 rookies, yesterday it took me 10 minutes to get through 2 plays. So to give you an example, last year we could probably get through 10 plays in 5 minutes. So just the patience of giving them the reps that they need to be successful. And it's just the time. And they will get it. They have a willingness to learn. And they're super excited about being here. So they're going to give their all.
You talked about how the SEC championship impacted the players' confidence. What about yours?
Yeah, it's changed me. I think it was confirmation. It was a rough go at the beginning of last year. And I was confident in the decisions that I had to make, and they were tough decisions as you move over, and you don't want to have to make them. But sometimes during those tough times, you do second guess yourself. But I've said it before, this administration is unbelievable. But I did receive a call. It was probably after our 4th or 5th loss. And it was about 11 o'clock at night, and it was Mr. Barnhart. So I was like, this can't be good. But he just said, you are my coach. I'm confident in you, and we're building this to last. no quick fixes. And, that really gave me a lot of comfort and confidence in what I was doing. And to have him behind me meant a lot, along with this administration. And, it just reassures you that you are doing the right thing, even when it will go astray. It'll go astray again this year. But just stay on path and stay focused and confident in what you're doing.
Coach, last year you guys kind of took the infamous Fort Campbell trip, and this summer you guys did more things like that with boxing lessons and Kings Island.
Yeah.
What's kind of the thought process from the coaching staff behind taking those kind of out of the ordinary trips?
Well, last year was a bit different because we had been together. It was more of a toughness. We needed the toughness and be in the trenches with each other. This year, it actually was a totally different approach because we had 10 new that you're trying to blend with the 5 returners. So this year was a mix of toughness and get to know because it's hard to trust somebody and be in the trenches when you don't know them. So we did a lot of get to know activities of painting, a lot of team meetings of, this is who I am and this is what I need to be successful. But one thing you're going to find out about this team. So a year ago, I kind of had to wait with the awkward silence when I asked a question. This year, I have to be like, okay, everybody calm down, not everybody at once. So I think their personality is different. So having a mix of fun, because we want it to be tough and hard work, but it's also fun, and you can't leave that part out.
One or two more.
A lot of your players have been taking advantage of NIL. Just what do you think that's been or has been beneficial for your program, or how do you think it keeps players around and helps with recruiting as well?
Well, it does help with recruiting. So the name, image, likeness is very prevalent in our game right now. And luckily for us, we are blessed with an unbelievable brand that BBN brings. And our players, I love it. They are very empowered right now. They're not afraid to use their voice. They love money. And so they don't mind going out to get their own deals. We went to an event to open up the sports academy last week, just to show you an example. So Blair comes up to me and says, who's in charge of this event? So I was like, here's some different people. I said, why do you need to know? She said, I'm going to talk to them about hiring me so I can make some extra money. So they love making money, but it also helps prepare them for life after here, that they're doing business deals. They have to conduct themselves in such a way to get certain brands. But the bottom line, no matter what happens in the name, image, likeness, we talk about if we produce and we win, everybody wins. So everybody will get what they want if we do what we're supposed to do as a team.
How are you talking about some of these recruiting advantages? Does it help you on the trail to say, we had the WNBA Rookie of the Year here?
It does. It does help. Everybody loves Ryan Howard. So we had a lot of momentum going into recruiting with Ryan Howard being the #1 draft pick, but it also helped carrying an SEC championship trophy to the houses, along with the nets and the jerseys that we wore. But I think it was the exposure that team brought. But that's the momentum that you need and that we need to continue in recruiting. Winning. We need to win. That helps in recruiting, period.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, so how does it feel to, be one of the veterans and there's so many?
Well, it is quite different. 10 new people. But we do have, the 5 from the glorious 2022 women's basketball tournament. Just having to guide the young ones and even the older ones that are, new to the system. I mean, I'm a transfer, so I know what it feels like to come into a new program.
Yeah. And then I guess just Coach talked about practice and just how different and competitive it's been.
Practice has been competitive. With the new group, we're trying to get more chemistry. And so, going at it every day, going hard every day is something that we preach. And that is the standard from Coach Elzy.
I heard you almost got hurt first day of practice during the race. Just what does that say? First of all, how scary can that be? But also just seeing the competitiveness so early.
All right, I'm going to tell you what happened. This is what happened. we get points for winning sprints, right? So me and Mimi, her name's Anaya Jenkins. She's a freshman from Kentucky. We're neck and neck. And I'm like, I'm not about to let this freshman beat me. So, of course, I cut her off. And we almost went into that treadmill over there, but I won the sprint. I'm a graduate, can't let a freshman beat me.
Show your face, show your spot.
Yeah.
Was there any decision into coming back to your fifth year, or was it a season for that reason?
It was a tough decision because a lot of my teammates left from last year, and it was just a lot to think about. But I had to think about myself, my education, and also what I was going to do after my senior year. So there was some thought took into it.
What is post-college plans?
What'd you say?
Post-college plans? What's happening there?
Right now I'm in an MBA program over there at Gatton. So I do want to start my own business. I'm not just sure what it's going to be yet, but I do want to also start up my journalism career. But I also still want to play basketball. So it's still kind of all up in the air right now.
So what are your on-court expectations for this coming season being basketball?
Well, I know a lot of my teammates left, and they produced a lot. So I know I'm going to have to have a bigger role in producing points. But I just want to make sure that I play the right way every day.
We looked at the bright side and just kept it positive and kept it moving.
You mentioned looking at those positives. Actually, Coach said something about you earlier that he actually echoed that earlier this morning. How being able to sit out, like obviously it wasn't ideal to have to sit out here, but you got to kind of see the game from another perspective. Mm-hmm. How much do you think that's going to improve your game this year? Seeing that as not as a coach, but almost as a coach on the team.
Yeah, I think it's awesome just to kind of have a different perspective. I mean, like the coach is constantly talking to me, and then going to the players and just kind of like saying like what the coaches are saying, because not like all the time the players don't always want to hear it from the coaches, but when I'm able to step in and kind of see the coach's perspective, it's a little bit easier to hear it from me than from the coaches at times. So I learned so much through this journey, just being able to do film with the coaches, set up scouting reports, and just being on the bench and just kind of seeing like what they had to say and just looking at the game from a different point of view. So yeah, I think it helped tremendously, and it's making me have to use my voice a lot more. So just being able to be more of a vocal leader is just big.
I guess just from a physical perspective, the kind of injury you suffered sometimes takes away explosiveness and things you could do before on the basketball court. How do you feel?
What I've worked with have done like a phenomenal job of just getting me back to where I was. I mean, it's not always easy, but I'm feeling more like 100% every day and feeling healthier and just better every day than I was even last year. I mean, it's going to take some time getting me back to like the pace of the game and just like playing through my fatigue and all that kind of stuff. But every day I feel like I'm getting 1% better and getting back to myself, if not even better than who I was last summer at this point. So yeah, just taking it day by day, being patient, but our trainers and everyone definitely did a great job of just bringing me back to like how I was and even stronger.
We've heard Kyra outline the leadership she wants from you and the vocal aspect, but has there been any kind of particular on-court things that she's asked from you or benchmarks that you've even set for yourself that you want to achieve from on-court play this season?
Really, I just want to take a day by a time. I mean, one day at a time. It's my last year. I really want to enjoy it and just let loose and just have fun and just enjoy every moment. And if I give it my all, then that's all I can do. So yeah, just have a scorer's mentality, but also hold our team together and keep us going through the fire together and just keep us all tight and having fun and loving each other. So it's going to have some ups and downs early, but I think once we get through a couple patches, we're going to be strong and we're going to be playing to the highest level. And I think it's just my job to keep everyone focused on the end goal.
You talked earlier about Macy and even just Cassidy for this season. Does it mean anything to you to have so many Kentucky players on this team and representing the Commonwealth flagship university?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I mean, a lot of people, like from Kentucky, we take pride in the name that we have on the front of our jersey, and we bring it every day and just like work to our fullest. And I think especially trying to be those role models for the kids back home, just saying like you can play at this level, like it just takes a lot of hard work, and just us being those examples and exemplifying that every day on the court is just something that we strive to do and that we want to do. So I think it's a huge deal, and I feel like everyone from Kentucky and even just like from Eastern Kentucky take huge pride in that and just like really want to give back and just continue to bring them to Kentucky. So, yeah, I think it's awesome just seeing.
That make you a better player just going through all that as a freshman last year?
I feel like that year was just filled with adversity. So that was I got through that year. So now it's just building on that, helping the younger people in front of me not struggle as much because they have more people around them that can help them out. So just giving them that, and then learning from the vets that still are in front of me. Blair and Rob have a lot of experience, so just learning from them and continuing to grow through this process.
How important was this off season for you as a player?
It was really important, getting in way better shape so I could run even faster than I did last year, and just learning. It's a learning process, not making the same mistakes I did last year. They were freshman mistakes, so as a sophomore, I got to step up a lot this year, so just that.
The defense, you had a lot of responsibility with that a year ago, and Coach said, now everybody's going to pitch in. What's that burden like to be that person that everyone looks to, but now you have help?
I feel like it's a great thing because I can teach them how to do it, show them how to do it, and still play at the same time. So when I need a break or if I'm tired, I can count on my teammates. 3, 4, 5, 6 people play pickup now, so it's a great thing.
What is the style of play going to look like now that you have depth and it's not just a lonely bench?
I think it's going to be even faster, more versatile, so a lot of players can switch to different positions, 1 through 4. Got a lot of versatile posts that can run, strong. I'm excited for this year.
Oh, they were so excited. My mom and dad, my poor mom, she was so heartbroken that I was going so far away from home. So they're more excited than anybody just to have me so close and be able to go to every game. So, yeah.
I read somewhere that your grandparents couldn't stay up late enough to see you play.
Yeah, that was the thing. I mean, there's a 3-hour, I think it was 3-hour time difference. So if a game started at 8, my grandparents weren't going to stay up for that whole game. So, yeah, now same time zone and, up the road, they can actually come to games, not have to hop on an airplane to come. So, yeah, I'm excited for that.
What did recruiting kind of look like this second time around? I know you were recruited by Coach Elzy and her staff out of high school, but kind of what did that look like? Did you talk to similar people, or?
Definitely a little bit different. Obviously, spending 2 years in a college system, you're in high school. It's kind of funny, the recruiting process. You're kind of going in blind. You don't really know what to expect. People are obviously, are going to say what you want to hear. But this time around, I definitely asked a lot more questions, was a lot more straight up about, here's what I'm looking for. I'm not transferring just to, mess around, come to school and mess around. So, but I knew I wanted to come closer to home, so I definitely kept it within a 4-hour radius of all the schools, at least right when I got in the portal. So I, told people I wanted to come close to home. So.
How's your game changed since we last saw you here in the state?
I think I've been working on a lot more just being confident, honestly, in shooting the ball. I think it was easy to kind of lose that in college. You come out of, for everybody, you come out of being the best player, and, it's an adjustment. The speed of the game is so different, so much faster in college. So kind of just putting that together, the things that, I can do in my game and kind of getting it to that next level and being faster in pace and kind of just putting those pieces together to produce that in games. So,
And it's interesting how you described those other two, because that's sort of what Kyra said too. Asia specifically, work in progress, but she's what we've been missing in terms of that physical, big presence down low. How do you sort of get her to the point where you need her to be?
It's just time. It's keep showing her film, keep spending time with her. She had her first 2 days of practice were 2 of her best we had throughout the summer. It was like she had just gotten this confidence about herself and kind of was in a good place. She finishes well inside. She's physical. She doesn't mind the contact. So it's just making sure she understands that the body she was given is using that in all aspects of the game. Being a great screener, being out to somebody on the boards, it just cleans the boards up by boxing out. And right now she's learning to use her body in those positions.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Which you lose Ryan and you lose Dre too. So 2 big outfits.
Right.
Is there someone that stepped up yet, or is that still process and you got 3 weeks to figure that out?
Well, I think think we've got a veteran group that has stepped up collectively. You're not going to replace a Ryan Howard. You just aren't. Like, I was privileged to coach a Dearica Hamby, a kid that played for the Aces and the championship team. You don't replace those kinds of players, but collectively as a group, they do it. They replace them. They don't replace them. They kind of fill in a different way. And I would say our veterans so far, like Jada Walker has come back as a sophomore now with a confidence and a vocal leading that she has to do, which she didn't have to do last year because Ryan was there. Anaya Leveretter, same thing, very vocal, experience, knows what it's supposed to look like, knows what winning a championship takes. And so, a couple of those, Robin is, she missed a little bit this summer, but she's had a great fall thus far, a couple of weeks. It's my first time seeing her live, just really smooth, calm, poised on offense. She kind of brings a poise to us, whereas sometimes Jada brings this fast quickness to us that we don't slow down at times. So I think they balance each other, and a Blair who right now is she's looks really good. She's just pushing because she hasn't played and she was playing at such a high level last year. But I expect really big things out of her at the 4 spot for us some this year. So I think those guys in particular are really, taking on a lot of leadership. And then I would add Maddie into that group. The Kentucky kid that came home, and what a story. And she looks like a kid that's been here for 3 years. She doesn't look like a newbie. She's also a very calming factor, can play multiple positions, just knows how to score, does a great job running the offense when she's put at the point, or she can play the off guard spot.
I know you